What's going on, y'all? This is your boy Kale coming to you with another video. It's gonna be my last video today, but wanna talk about the newly released college football top 25 rankings, college football playoff top 25 rankings. I'm only going to talk about the top 10, to be honest. Going to get into the top six. Well, mostly the top six. I'm probably just mentioning a few teams that's in the top 10 or whatever, and like, the title scenarios and all that kind of stuff. So let's get into it. We're gonna start with the top four. We're gonna start with the top four right now. Alabama gets denied at number one. Clemson comes in at number two. Miami comes in at number three. And Oklahoma comes in at number four. Now, with those top four, obviously, last week, Georgia was number one. Alabama was number two. Notre Dame was number three. And who was that? Who was the number four? With TCU, I think it was TCU. Was it TCU? No, TCU wasn't at four. They were at five. I forgot who the 14 was. No, it was Clemson. Clemson was the 14 last week. Obviously, Georgia goes down big to Auburn. Notre Dame gets housed by Miami. Both teams are on the road. So I mean, you give them that. You got to give them that. Both teams are on the road. So, I mean, the other two teams in the top four, Alabama and Clemson, they move up. Alabama moves up to number one. Clemson moves 2 spots to number two. And then Miami, off of their big win over Notre Dame, they actually leapfrog Oklahoma, because Oklahoma was number 6 in the nation and Miami was number 7 in the nation last week. So Miami, like I said, with that big victory over Notre Dame, number 3 team in the nation, they actually leapfrog Oklahoma. And they're number 3 and Oklahoma's number 4. Oklahoma beat number 5 TCU, so they didn't beat a cupcake team. So, I mean, it's kind of, Oklahoma fans might be a little bit upset about that, but I mean, you're in the top 4. You're in the playoffs as far as the committee. I mean, if the season ended today, you're in the playoffs. So, I mean, it's really not much to say after that. Teams number 5 and 6, the undefeated Big Ten representative in the top 5, the Wisconsin Badgers. Let me say it again, undefeated. And then you have the Auburn Tigers at number 6, again coming off that big win against number 1 Georgia last week. I mean, I think the committee got it right as far as the top 4 teams. I mean, Wisconsin. I mean, I don't even think Wisconsin's even played Ohio State. Ohio. I don't think they played Ohio State. They played Michigan this week, so I mean, I think Michigan's going to be ranked this week. I forgot if they were ranked or not, but they're still a pretty decent team. They just don't have a good quarterback, but that's going to be a test for them. That's going to be a test for Wisconsin, man. They've already clinched their spot in the championship game. They're most likely going to face either Ohio State or Penn State, whichever one comes out of the other division in the Big Ten championship. I mean, Wisconsin's got to win out because their strength of schedule is just piss poor. So, I mean, Wisconsin's got to win out. Auburn, I mean, they still have a great shot, man. Face Oklahoma, not Oklahoma. They face Alabama in the Iron Bowl at the end of the year, and then and only if they win, if they beat Alabama, I think they have. Yeah, I think they will have. I think they would get in the SEC championship game if they beat Alabama, and they will face Georgia. Again, I think Georgia dropped down number 7, so they still have a great shot of getting into the playoff. Like I said, it depends on what happens in that Iron Bowl game. and then it depends on if they can get the victory in the SEC championship game. So they're still in pretty good shape, even after losing bad to Auburn this week. Clemson and Miami. I mean, that 2 versus 3 matchup, like I said, if that would be a playoff game if the season ended today, those two are actually going to meet before then in the ACC championship game. And obviously the loser will be out. The loser will be out. Miami is undefeated. Clemson had that one hiccup against Syracuse when Bryant went down. It's going to be like I said. I think the winner of that game represents the ACC in the playoff. Like I said, I just gave the scenarios for the SEC. If Alabama wins out, they're going to be number one. If Alabama wins out, they're going to be number one. Now, even if they lose the Iron Bowl, I think they still have a chance to get in the playoff. I mean, it really depends on what happens with Oklahoma and the Big Ten in Wisconsin. Oklahoma, I mean, the Big 12 has a championship game this year, so the top 2 teams will face each other for the championship. I mean, they've been beating up on each other all year. I mean, it's been Oklahoma, it's been TCU, it's been Iowa State, it's been Oklahoma State. I mean, it's been a battle in the Big 12 this year. I mean, Lincoln Riley taking over for Bob Stoops. I mean, he's put this team in a great position. But, again, Oklahoma lost to Iowa State at home. And, like I said, they have a championship game this year. So, Oklahoma will face one of those teams at the top. It might be Bedlam Part 2. If Bedlam Part 2 is anything like Bedlam Part 1, woo, man. Baker Mayfield threw for almost 600 yards in that game, man. Defense wasn't even optional. Defense wasn't even on the menu that game. Even though Oklahoma didn't make I think they picked off Rudolph to seal the game. But man, most of all, I think they got it right with the top 4, top 6. Like I said, it's crazy. I mean, if Oklahoma wins. If Oklahoma's probably the Big Ten's the Big Ten's best shot. Like I said, the ACC is in because you have Clemson and Alabama. Excuse me, you have Clemson and Miami facing off in the ACC championship game. So the winner of that game is going to be in for the ACC. Again, one of the SEC schools is going to win. It's going to be in. One of the SEC schools is going to be in. It's Alabama, Georgia, Auburn. It's between those 3. I mean, it might even be a scenario where all 3 of those teams get in, especially if Oklahoma and Wisconsin lose their conference title games. I think the only way that happens is if Auburn beats Alabama in the Iron Bowl, and then Georgia beats Auburn in the SEC championship. I think that's the only way that all 3 of those Big Ten teams get in. Excuse me, 8 SEC teams get in, because you have Alabama who would have lost a week ago. Like I'm thinking about it after the SEC championship game. But yeah, you have Alabama who would have just lost a week after to a good opponent. And then you have Auburn who lose to a good opponent in Georgia, who Auburn already beat. So I think that could be a case for all 3 SEC teams to get in, if Oklahoma and Wisconsin loses their conference championship games. But one last segment before I wrap it up, Heisman Trophy. Obviously, you have Baker Mayfield as the front runner right now. You have Bryce Love, running back for Stanford. He didn't have a good performance, but I think Josh Adams is still in that picture for Notre Dame. Then Saquon Barkley, he's still in the mix for Penn State. Saquon Barkley seemed like the front runner for so many weeks, but I mean Baker Mayfield's just taking over with these last two performances against Oklahoma State and TCU. So I mean he's clearly the favorite. I mean he came back for this reason to get another shot at the playoff and to possibly win a Heisman Trophy. He was a finalist last year along with his receiver. D.D. Westbrook, I mean, he's balling right now. He's balling out of control right now, man. Like I said, we'll see what happens with the Oklahoma as far as the Big 12 championship game. Like I said, if they went out there into, I mean, the only top Power 5 conference that's out is the Pac-12 because USC already has 2 losses. Washington State already has 2 losses, so. I mean, Pac-12 is basically done. They've been done for the last couple of weeks. So, I mean, Pac-12 is out. It's down to the ACC, SEC, Big 12, and Big 10. Like I said, that scenario, I can really see that scenario. If Auburn beats Alabama in the Iron Bowl, and then Georgia beats Auburn in the SEC championship, I could in the Big 12 and in Oklahoma. And Wisconsin loses in their conference title games, I could really see 3 SEC teams in the college football playoff alongside that ACC team. Obviously, Wisconsin gets in if Oklahoma loses. Well, even then, I don't know. Even then, I don't know because they might look at Notre Dame's schedule. Losing to Georgia and Miami. 2 teams that could possibly be in there. I don't know. Wisconsin just has had a weak schedule. And that might be a detriment to them. That really might be a detriment to them, having that weak schedule. But we'll see, man. We'll see. But thank you guys for watching this video. I wish y'all nothing but positive vibes only. And I'm going to see y'all in the next video.